I made a
That's pretty impressive, actually. Now, where did I put that? I heard him tell the
I
joke.
can't imagine
understood
eating
it.
one of those things.
It just wasn't funny.
They're only trying to do their duty. Come, let us play our parts.
Yes.
Make it quick. Stop talking. Enough.
I can't imagine eating one of those things.
Guess I won't be visiting Kvatch.
This is official business. Do not interfere.
They're only trying...
Why do you bother me? Go away!
Alrighty. Hello everyone. Sorry for the messy stream. We're just doing some random showcasing of landscaping and some other stuff. I have an assistant who is going to be playing the game. Currently I am playing to showcase the Imperial City, the region that Clef J has been working on. And after that she will take my place and I will just focus on answering questions in chat. So if you have questions you can ask them in about 10 minutes. So just hold on to them, and for now you can listen to me, I suppose. So we recently started working on the area around the Imperial City Isle. The most notable changes so far are the Imperial City Bridge, which I can show off using the old LOD. Alright, so if we take a step back, we can see this was the old Imperial Bridge, which was very underwhelming, and the way heading up to the main gate was very steep. It was pretty much impossible for any merchants to take their carriages up to or into the Imperial City, which was very strange. So the changes we've made make the bridge much more massive and intimidating. We also added some nice looking waterfalls. This is all very much an early work in progress, but generally this is the direction that we are going in. Also, Way is going to be more of like an actual settlement instead of just the inn and the farmer that are located right now. There should be sort of almost a merchant settlement, since a lot of merchants who are going to be coming into the city and leaving the city will probably stay for the night. Yeah, so new banners. Also between every gate there are these I forgot the correct word, but you get the idea. Also swinging Jesus. Alright, so this is one of the things that's been fixed. It's the road leading up to the main gate, which was very steep. It's still a bit steep, and again, everything is very rough right now. But so far, it's much more.
You're so mean.
It's much more natural looking, and just a big improvement overall. Also, an idea I had, and I was finally able to put in game with the help of Clef J, who does all the landscaping in this area, is the thing with the Imperial City is that it has a lot of people living in it and no means of supplying themselves with food, which is always very odd to me. So what we are doing currently is adding a lot of farms to the Imperial City, or to the area surrounding the Imperial City. So that there will be farms that can gather wheat and, you know, tomatoes, all that kind of stuff, to actually produce enough food to supply the city itself. There will also be some farms on the mainland over in that general direction, but generally these are the more rich farms that have acquired the best spot and have been owned by families for a few hundred years. So this is a nice little animal den. And currently these grasses are just placeholders for when we have the new wheat resources. Also new windmills made by Clef J himself, which are very much imperial looking as far as the architecture goes. But yeah, in terms of landscaping, this is kind of the direction that we're going with. We're filling up a lot of empty space. But our main goal is to make the environment feel more natural, and if we add stuff like, for instance, the farms, it has to kind of fit the region. In this case, we made it, or we figured it would fit, since the city would need farms to supply the people with food and ingredients to make bread, etc. Also something that's probably going to be getting removed is this bandit camp up here, because it doesn't make any sense for bandits to camp right next to the Imperial City, which is where, you know, a shit ton of guards reside. It's a little strange. Yeah, so sorry for the ramble there. I'm going to be giving the control over to my girlfriend in a few minutes, and then I will just be answering questions instead. So, again with the landscaping done by Clef J, here we can see, for instance, that the Imperial City prison, I want to say. Yeah, the prison is located on bedrock, which would make a lot of sense. Since this area is elevated, it would probably have to be consisting out of some type of rocks and sorry. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna give it over to the help, and yeah, I'll let you guys worry about that. So I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you have questions, I will be answering them on Twitch instead of YouTube. Nah, bro, my theme is better.
Hell no.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoy, and there we go. Alright, sorry, that took a lot longer than I thought it would. I had to get the charger for the laptop. Give me a minute to load up the chat. Alright, if you can send your questions in the Twitch chat, that would be much appreciated. For the record, I'm not currently playing, I'm just answering questions. Alright, so this is the area leading up to the sewers, which we'll get to if he cross the water. Alright, well, never mind. Okay, so we are going to the Imperial City Prison. The exit, anyway. Sinkhole Cave is not going to be removed at all. Currently we're just thinking about removing the bandits, since it's very unlogical for a group of bandits to set up camp right next to the Imperial City, as it's filled with guards, which no doubt patrol the isle itself, as they are also patrolling the surrounding areas and roads. So the cave won't be touched. Instead, it might be like turned into a little encampment for Khajiit traders or something along those lines. Yes, Skyblivion will have the same voice acting as it had in Oblivion. Alright, so this is the area that you first look at when you exit the sewers, which currently has barely been touched. The only region that's been touched is to the left of it, which you can really see. It's been made to look a bit more natural. As you can see, the left right now is very empty, and the right is more natural looking, but it's still very much a work in progress. We don't have a specific release date yet for the mod, but we're hoping to release it in 2018, or at least that's our goal. Whether or not we are able to make this, I dare not say. So Skyblivion is a mod for Skyrim that adds all of the content from Oblivion to the game, which is a very basic way of explaining it. We ourselves are making a lot of enhancements to the game, for instance with the landscaping, but the best and most easy explanation I can give is that yes, it's all of Oblivion's quests and locations in the Skyrim engine, which will be free for you to play, and it will be downloaded as any other mod.
place is a holdup. Hand it over or die. We can play it that way if you like.
Yes, all textures for the vanilla game are being remade. Some of them can already be seen in game. The base resolution for new textures will be 4K or 4000 pixels. I think the originals were 125 pixels maybe, not sure. 256 more likely, but they were very low resolution. And for the people with less powerful PCs, there's an option to downscale the textures from anywhere between 4K and I think 1K or even lower. Probably even lower. No, you do not need to sleep to level up. There might be a plugin which will allow this. It's not very hard to do. But the idea is to combine a lot of Skyrim's mechanics and Oblivion's mechanics. Most Skyrim mods will not conflict with Skyblivion at all, no. In fact, most mods should be compatible. For instance, if you have Convenient Horse installed, your horses in Oblivion will make use of this plugin. Same with any combat mod, if you have that installed, it will work for Skyblivion. So, Robert Morian asks, do you feel that any of the vanilla game design is so bad that you want to totally redo it, or complete it, or delete it completely? Yes, I love Bethesda, but working on the TS renewal projects for the last couple of years now really showed me kind of how far behind Bethesda is when you look at other game companies or game publishers and their games and the quality that they've been putting out. Looking at Oblivion, one of the best things about the game, for instance, is the writing, which is great. The voice acting is not fantastic, but for the time it was sufficient. But something that I've always found very lacking, and there's not really like a good excuse for, is the landscaping, which was very empty, which was mainly done to ensure that the game would be playable on old generation consoles, I think anyway. But it made for very boring exploration after a while. I mean, I love the game to death, but if you're halfway through the game, you've basically seen it all. So one of our goals is to completely redo all the landscaping, make sure that every region is more unique looking, and I have to say that that's probably one of the biggest things I've always wanted to redo completely. The grass that you're currently seeing in the game is just a placeholder. This is the these are the grass meshes from Oblivion, and they will be replaced by much more natural and dense grasses, which will be hand placed all over the landscape. One of Oblivion's biggest flaws is that its terrain was generated by a computer, and across Cyrodiil there are a lot of unnaturally steep roads, for instance, which are sometimes at like a 90-degree angle or higher, which is very odd, because carriages and even horses are going to have real trouble getting across those, and those are things that we really want to fix before the mod releases. Now, for people who just want to enjoy Oblivion and don't want any of the improvements, because they may not see them as improvements, there's an option to just leave the landscaping for what it is and go with Oblivion's landscapes instead. Will people be able to make mods for Skyblivion just like Enderall? Yes. Yeah. it's already been discussed with the people over at Nexus Mods, and Skyblivion and Skywind will be getting their own mod pages, so people can upload their mods on nexusmods.com/Skywind/Skyblivion. The forest areas are going to be more dense, and the more drier regions are going to be less dense. Currently, it's all kind of similar and the same. So that's one of the big changes you will find, is that all the regions will be more unique looking. For instance, the Gold Coast region is going to be much more dry and barren compared to, for instance, the Great Forest. The Great Forest will be more dense than it was in Oblivion. There will be a bigger variation of trees and flora to be found across the province. Have you started lighting the landscape? I'm not sure what that means. We've started working on weathers, if that's what you mean. What areas need the most work at this point? Depends on what you mean. In order to release the mod, we have to implement all the games and finish the quest stages. Also make sure scripts are working correctly. If you're talking about, for instance, landscaping, I think the biggest area we need to finish is in my opinion, the regions or the places that we've never visited, just the forest, etc. Really, my goal with landscaping is to reward the player for exploring, which Oblivion currently doesn't really do. So make sure to add a lot of unique locations, hidden treasures, etc. to kind of tempt people into exploring the world of Cyrodiil more, and at the same time reward them for doing this. In terms of 3D, the biggest part would be definitely the remaking of the armor sets. It's very hard to find people to do this because it's very intensive, time-intensive work. Plus, there's the concept art which has to be made, a lot of revisions, etc. So it's very time-consuming, to say the least. Weapons is pretty well on track, so I think that's not going to be a real problem. But see, the thing is with the mod is that people almost, well, no, they do at times demand a release, but at the end of the day, this has been a passion project for a lot of us, and for a lot of people, this is also a mod that they will be putting on their resume. For instance, for the people that have done any 3D modeling, their work will be seen in this mod, and their career might depend on how well this mod does. So for the sake of all the people that have been helping us with the mod, we want to release a good product. We don't want to rush anything and give you like a half-assed version of something that could have been great. This is something that a lot of people have requested for us to just release it. But at the end of the day, you're just going to be exploring an empty world, and the excitement for the game will die down. People will have seen it, and a lot of people won't be able to experience it properly. Alright, so what you saw there is a crash which is caused by the same plugin that allows us, for instance, to play through the first quests that have been implemented, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to release the mod at this stage, because it's going to be fun to play for 10 minutes, but it's not stable enough for people to really enjoy and sink their teeth in and just sit down for a couple of hours. I'm playing I'm playing myself again. That's wrong. All right. Well, anyway, controls. Hello. All right. So an area I want to show off actually is the Shivering Highlands. And this area specifically. Ugh. Sorry for the mess. Someone asks, there seems to be a lot more action on the Skyblivion side compared to Skywind, streams, videos, etc. Is this because Skyblivion is much further along? So first of all, Skyblivion and Skywind are very different projects, and they are being worked on by very different people. There are different groups of people working on the mods. Also, the scale and scope of the mods are very different. For instance, Skywind is a complete remake from pretty much the ground up from Morrowind. Skyblivion is more of a port with added enhancements. The reason why you're seeing much more content on YouTube and you see a lot more streams for Skyblivion is because, one, I handle the PR for both mods, but since I'm at this moment more closely working with the people over at Skyblivion, I'm able to show off our work more easily. And second is because for Skywind we've decided not to show any gameplay, which is first of all what attracts the most attention, but also is the easiest to show off. Now we do have a few developers streaming on Skywind, but at the moment everyone is in college or focusing on their jobs and just working on Skywind in the limited free time that they have. So the reason you're not seeing any content for Skywind at the moment is not because there's less work being done or because there's less progress being made. It's simply because people don't really have the time to both stream and produce content and work on Skywind. So we've kind of put our priorities on just working on the mod, and there will be another update video when enough progress has been made and we have enough time to make something really worthy of the actual progress. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit, but English is not my native language, so don't hate me. Anyway, I hope that ramble kind of explained why. The other thing is that in Skyblivion I have a more of a leading position, whereas in Skywind I do not. So I'm just overall less involved with the project. For Skyblivion, I work very closely with the landscaping team, with the texture department, with the 3D department. Essentially, I pretty much know everything that's going on, and with Skywind, I kind of have to reach out to the people working on the mod to get the content I need to post on social media, etc. My native language is Dutch. No, I'm not Russian. Русский, комрад. Получалось. Сука, блядь. Тротуар. Блин. Nej, pannkoek. Swedes and Dutch are the best. I think a lot of the Swedish Skyblivion developers are going to appreciate that. Push-outs. What mod will release first, Skywind or Skyblivion? It's really hard to say. With Skyblivion, there's less work that needs to be completed before we can release. Now, the biggest hassle currently is that, and I don't really know all the technical aspects of this because there's literally one person who does in the Skyrim modding community, but our lead tech wizard, as I'm just gonna call him, Arisarn, is working on a tool that can convert the Oblivion skeletons and animations and allow us to put these into the Skyrim engine.
Well, I normally stay
But
out
this
of the
tool,
affairs of
the
the
reason
great
why
folk that
we've
come
not
through
seen
Wayne
any
on Pride
custom
to see
animations
Master
and
Duff.
skeletons in Skyrim modding
But
is
go
because
ahead and
up
take
to
this hammer.
this point
You might
it's
have use
pretty
of
much
it,
been
and I
impossible,
have
so
others.
only
Not
recently
much call
the
for smith work
option
around here in any case.
opened up for us to
Well, we
actually
both
have
better
new
things to
creatures
do
in
than
game,
stand here all day
and
exchanging
instead of
idle
using,
gossip.
for instance, the
Good
troll
day to you
animation
now.
for a zombie, or well, a Draugr would be more appropriate in this case. But instead of just using old animations and skeletons from the
I'm
Skyrim
waiting.
game, we now really want to focus on getting actual
They
new
say
creatures
that
in the
when you
game
murder
and
someone, the Dark
kind
Brotherhood
of
comes to you in your sleep.
make it
It's how
feel
they
actually
recruit
feel like you're
new
playing a new
members.
game instead of at every turn kind of make it very clear that you're just playing a reskin of Skyrim. And yeah, so it's getting the creatures in game is a lot more work than anticipated, I think. But at the end of the day, this wasn't really a possibility at all in the past, so I'm very glad that eventually we will be able to release a mod with some groundbreaking technology that hasn't been seen in the modding community. On top of that, this will be one of the biggest mods ever released for both Skyrim and just any game in general. Of course, next to mods like Enderal, which fortunately I am in good contact with, or on good terms with, and they've allowed us to use some of their resources actually for Skyblivion, which is very nice for them. The stream has been going on for about an hour now. Bethesda have joined our website a few years back. They are okay with the mods. They just can't openly support it because we are still using some of the Oblivion assets, but they have no intention of shutting this down. On top of that, we will have an installer for the mod, which will check if you have the original game installed. And without owning a legitimate copy of Oblivion, for instance, you won't be able to play Skyblivion. Of course, we have all the respect in the world for Bethesda and their work. We have no intention of illegally distributing anything that doesn't belong to us. So for instance, the mod won't ship with any Oblivion meshes, which is why we need to installer, because anything that we don't own will be taken from the Oblivion game itself. If you can, so someone asked if they can run the Skyblivion mods, and essentially, if you can run Skyrim on medium settings, then you should be totally fine as far as Skyblivion goes. It is a bit more performance intensive because the landscaping is more modern, which means there are more objects placed around the land. Plus, our textures are much more high resolution than the original Skyrim textures, which you can scale down if you have a low spec computer. But essentially, if you can run Skyrim, then you can run Oblivion or Skyblivion just fine. Yeah, but making you can't really compare the Xbox version and the PC version of Skyrim because the Xbox version was downgraded quite significantly, as well as the PlayStation version, in order to actually allow those games to be played on the older generation console. So, knowledge. Yes, there is going to be fog in certain areas. Blackwood is going to be very foggy. The Highlands can be very foggy in the early morning. You can also see some of the, well, these are not the newly made textures, but some newly made grasses, but these are new grasses that have been kind of improvised by Clef J himself. I currently have the density of the grass turned very low, so you can't really see it properly, which is my bad. But it can give you a decent idea of the improvements that some new grass can make compared to the static meshes of Oblivion. Yes, you will be able to travel between Skyrim and Cyrodiil, but it's kind of the idea that you create a new game in order to enjoy the quests and the world of Cyrodiil. And you will be able to mod the game, just like you can mod Skyrim. Most Skyrim mods will be completely compatible with Skyblivion. Yeah, I know, we made sure that it's daytime now. That's nice, Wrench. I hope you have a great day. If that's how you want to spend your Saturday evening, it's up to you. Is the Skywind team taking any inspiration or ideas from Elder Scrolls Online Morrowinds? Not really, I think. Actually, what's kind of funny, when the announcement was made for Morrowind, and we saw the first screenshots of the Elder Scrolls Online expansion, and I can't confirm this, but there seem to have been a lot of ideas implemented into the expansion that the Skyrim team had made concept arts for and posted just general progress of on our Facebook page, which was really odd. But again, I can't say if any of the people at ZeniMax Online saw our work and were inspired by that. But if anything, it seemed to have been the other way around. But generally, no, we are not taking any inspiration from Elder Scrolls Online, as we have some very dedicated lore buffs in our team and even better concept artists. So there's not really any need. Plus, the game is a few hundred years apart, and the landscape itself has been drastically changed in those years, so there's not much inspiration we can use besides maybe some stuff for Vivek. So yeah. I'm sure that if we'd made a Patreon or something similar, we would make a lot of money, yeah. But I personally don't have very much interest in making money off of this, and besides that, money tends to complicate things, because then you'd have to worry about who gets how many. For instance, how much do you pay a concept artist for one piece of concept art compared to a landscaper for a whole day or 10 hours of landscaping? And then do you pay a nav mesher as much for 10 hours of nav meshing in comparison to 10 hours of landscaping in comparison to 10 hours of 3D modeling? So yeah, involving any sorts of funding will just turn into a shitstorm, and we currently have 4 landscapers on our team, and we welcome anyone who is interested in joining us, because we can really use more help in the landscaping department. Well, copyright can be bypassed because there are a lot of gray areas. For instance, instead of saying support us to help us create Skyblivion, you can make a Patreon saying, hey, I make the Skyblivion updates videos, so if you want to see more updates, donate money here and I will be able to invest more time into updating you guys. Which is a gray area, because there's no real copyright involved in just creating a video about it. But again, it's just a lot of stuff to worry about, and even then you can't really guarantee that ZeniMax won't come after you. But it's all purely hypothetical, because again, there's no interest in money. If you want to work on a project, if you want to help us, that's great. But if your goal is to make money off of it, then you'll be disappointed, because we don't make shit. How come Skywind had to start from the ground up and Skyblivion is essentially a port? Well, Skyblivion is still more than just a port, but generally speaking, the reason is that Morrowind was very old, and at some point we decided that either you get a one-to-one version of Morrowind, which honestly just looks like crap in Skyrim's engine, because it's very empty and unimpressive, or we can give you all a truly remastered experience, which is pretty much what we're going for. And the same thing with Skyblivion. a lot of people have put a lot of time into the project in order to help their careers in the future. And by delivering a shitty product, they are kind of screwed because it won't look as good on their resume as a successful mod with proper 3D assets, etc., which they probably have worked on. The rambles are real. Oh no. The fine for necrophilia in Cyrodiil. You'd have to ask the Imperial Guards. I assume like a silver sword in your back. How skilled of a concept artist do you have to be in order to contribute? Very skilled. I showed some concept art earlier at the beginning of the stream, so maybe it's possible to scroll all the way back. But we are looking for some pretty high quality stuff, as we have to use this to like kind of inspire the landscapes. So yeah, easy sketches won't cut it. That's another thing. People keep complaining that More Oblivion was never released, but More Oblivion has been downloadable for years. If people are watching this and they think that More Oblivion never released, you can download it on tsnul.com. I'm not sure where that rumor or where that came from. Is it possible that this will never be released? No. Even if we decide to stop development for some odd reason, which I can guarantee you we won't. I've been active in this Skyblivion mod for I think 3 years now, and I have no intention of quitting now. Even if it has to be like another 3 years. But if, let's say, everyone decides to quit because one of the developers who, for instance, is in charge of the quests, or Arisarn, who's in charge of creatures, quits, the mod will be released as it is, because there's no way we're just going to let all this work and effort go to waste. But this is not something you have to worry about. The game or the mod will be released when everything is implemented into the game, so sooner or later you guys will be able to enjoy the mod and enjoy our work. Gold Huzza asks, how experienced of a landscaper do you need to be? Do landscapers need to show complete landscape overhauls to show proof of skill? I'm thinking of applying, though I may not be good enough. So yeah, you have to be a fairly experienced landscaper. I look at the applications every couple of days. I mean, I'm in college, so I don't have all the time in the world to go over these. But generally in the weekend, I give them a look. In the proof of skill section, you can provide us with a plugin, which you may have created, or something from your Skyrim Nexus profile, or Oblivion Nexus profile, or even Fallout profile if you have made any landscaping stuff there. If we feel that your proof of skill is not enough, we will give you a task ourselves, so we can make sure that you haven't uploaded anything that doesn't belong to you, and to see how good you actually are, and how good of a job you can do within a certain time frame. If you are good enough and you give us a plugin that we are satisfied with, then you will be welcomed into the dev team. So yeah. Why do you actually make this for free? I'm not complaining, of course. I'm extremely grateful, but I really don't understand it. For me personally, the Elder Scrolls games are very special, I guess. Yeah, they're an important part of my life, and Oblivion is my favorite game in Elder Scrolls. Oh yeah, I think it's one of the best games, so it's fun to actually be able to work on remaking them. The user interface as a whole is a work in progress. It's not final at all. Everything in the user interface right now is just a proof of concept. Thanks.
I'm so hungry. Thank you, kind sir.
As you can see, the
Blessings of stand up upon you.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay. Will this be shown in E3 when it's ready? Well, no, this will not be shown at E3. Maybe if I ever go to E3 and I will have like a piece of paper with Skyblivion development stuff written on it, and like 2 people will show up and ask me what it is, and then leave within 10 seconds. So no.
Not a nice place to visit. Those that remember still tell stories about the bad old days. About 30 years back, there was some trouble out there. Bad trouble. Legion had to be called in. People killed.
Hector.
Go bother someone else.
How big is the Skyblivion map in comparison to Skyrim? I think Oblivion or Cyrodiil is it is bigger than Skyrim, that I know. I remember how much bigger exactly. I think it was 1.5 times bigger, maybe. Yes, Skyblivion will be compatible with existing Skyrim mods. Stuff like convenient horses, combat mods, water overhauls, stuff like that. Any texture mod will work for Skyblivion. Now keep in mind that we are remaking all of the textures ourselves, and Skyblivion doesn't share any textures with Skyrim, so your Skyrim texture mods will work just fine and won't be really messing with the Skyblivion installation, but you will not able to see them in Skyblivion either, as we are not using any Skyrim textures. This is all custom work.
Make it quick. A cure? You mean besides death?
The
Such a thing
Skyblivion map
beyond
is
the
exactly
Guild of
the
Mages
same
might
size that it
know.
was in Oblivion.
Speak with Raminus Polus. He may be able to guide you.
As I mentioned before, it's
Stop talking.
the original game has been ported to the Skyrim engine, and that was used as a base. Will we add new features? There will be plenty of new content to explore, yeah.
Please be generous, kind sir. Thank you, kind sir. Blessings of Mistara upon ye.
You can't walk from Skyrim to Cyrodiil, no. Keep in mind that the mod, or Oblivion and Skyrim, are a few hundred years apart, so there's no immersive way to be playing both quest lines and playing both worlds at the same time. There's no doubt going to be an option to take your Dragonborn to Skyblivion by means of time travel using an Elder Scroll, which has been seriously suggested 100 times for both Skyrim and Skyblivion. But yeah, generally the idea is that you start a new game.
What?
Stop talking.
Make
Enough.
it quick. Stop. Enough.
Alright, so I'm behind the keyboard again, and I want to show a few more things before we call it quits. And a big thank you to the assistant for entertaining you guys.
Hello, I don't think we've met. Are you new in town? Likewise, I'm always glad to meet someone new. Welcome. I'm sure my mother would be glad to meet you as well. My mother owns Northern Goods and Trade in Coral. Thank you for your help. If you are ever in Coral,
So as you can see, this is one of
please
the
look me up. My mother owns
partially implemented quests from Oblivion, which has been voiced, etc. It's not completely working, and we are currently working on a new quest build, which will include a lot more quests and be less buggy and crashy. And we are planning on hosting a big developer stream where we will have multiple developers joining us in chat, where we will talk about the mod and show a lot of quests and scripts in Skyblivion. but there's no real ETA on that yet, as the new quest build has to be finished, as well as some other plugins, for instance the landscaping, on which we want to make a bit more progress. Alright, so the area I want to show off is a little settlement that we added in the Skyblivion Highlands. But I can't really recall where it is exactly. I think it's around... yeah, it should be around there. Shit. I'm just going to speed through this area as there's not much new. This is mostly just Oblivion landscapes. And this is where we get to the new content. It's very brownish right now. Which it should not be, at least not this brown. It should be more, or it currently just looks like kind of dirt-ish. It should be more of a dry grass color. Anyway, everything is a work in progress, so. And for the fun, I'm gonna enable the EMB. There we go. So this is the new Skyblivion Highlands, which is much more rocky as, you know, actual mountains. As I said before, we have actual grass now. My grass density is turned all the way down, so it's very sparse, but it's there. I'll make sure to fix the grass in the next stream. Alright.
Mistake you'll ever make.
Let's kill it with a sword of Jigalac, shall we? There we go. Alright, alright, alright. Okay, so up next is a new settlement that we have added to the Skyblivion Highlands. All the landscaping here has been done by Clef J. New assets, textures, etc. have been made by Liam, who is one of our lead 3D artists in terms of environments, who's done some great work. As you can see, the biggest difference with the Skyblivion Highlands is that essentially Oblivion's mountains looked like this, empty with a rock every few hundred meters. What we want is for it to actually look like a mountain. Now this is a pretty bad example, especially with my crappy setup currently with all the missing grass. But the Skyblivion Highlands is essentially a lot of sharp cliffs, rocks, not a whole lot of vegetation. And I think so far we are doing a pretty good job at displaying that part of the Highlands, which we never really got to see. Now, all of our work is essentially based on lore which can be found in all the existing games. Some of it is inspired by Elder Scrolls Online, actually. Unlike Skywind, we do take some inspiration from ESO. And this is one of the new towns that we've added. It's called Cliffshire. There's a nice backstory for it. It's essentially a little settlement for any hunters, Imperial Legionnaires who travel through the Skyblivion Highlands. Just a place to crash for the night, have a drink, and afterwards just carry on. Now again, this has been done by Clef J, who is our lead landscaper currently. and I think he did an awesome job. It's very unfortunate that the grass is looking so shitty right now because of the low density. Because it makes the area look very empty, whereas it would not look as empty with all the grasses. But anyways, there's the little stream, well, there's this big stream heading down the mountains. We all remember these. And eventually this stream will find its way into the Gold Coast and eventually towards the ocean. Now, I've mentioned before how the aim of the landscaping for Skyblivion is to promote exploration and reward the player for going to places where in Oblivion you normally wouldn't go, because there's not really any reason to, because 9 out of 10 times there's not really anything to be found. And up ahead is a good example of one of those little hidden treasures, which in this case is a goblin who probably drank himself to death. He's surrounded by beer, and there's a little chest you can unlock. So that's one of the many things we want to add with the Skyblivion landscaping, is just all these little unique areas which are either just nice to look at or actually have something worthwhile to pick up, maybe even like a unique sword, who knows. But I think this is probably a good place to stop the stream. I myself am pretty tired now. I'm sorry for the unorganized mess, but that's usually how these streams turn out. If I do them out of the blue, they are unorganized, so it's kind of what we have come to expect, I suppose. Yeah. So this was the Clovian Highlands. This part is not really explorable because usually there are invisible borders which block this part off. I have them disabled so I can walk here. But as you can see, the ravine looks hella cool. Much better than it did in Oblivion. And I said I thought this was going to be... Okay, yeah, no. You shouldn't be able to get to this place, pretty sure. Anyway, in the next stream I will write some things down, because I did promise to talk a bit more about landscaping and certain design choices, which I would love to do, but currently it's going to turn into like a ramble and it will lead to nothing, I feel like, anyway. So thank you everyone for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully you will join us next time. Also, before I sign off, in the distance you can see Kvatch burning. Still, it's early work in progress and the smoke doesn't look all that great for now, but some nice little details that will be added to Skyblivion, which you didn't have in Oblivion. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the stream. So if you want to thank the moderators for keeping the chat clean and answering your questions, please do so. Also for my girlfriend for playing for a little while.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, good night and enjoy your weekend.